Hello, everybody.
Howdy. Hope everybody's doing fine. You know, one would think with the amount of research that is available these days that one might do a better job of researching the Watchtower and Freemason connection.
Are you taking a dig at the regressive elder again?
Well, of course. You know what? I just gotta ask. Is it piss poor research? Or is it dumbassery? Or is it a deflection so that others will not research and make connections? It's almost like some information is being protected.
Well, I find it interesting that a website that used to have the Freemason connection after the regressive elders video took down all that information.
Yeah, exactly.
I find that interesting.
Yeah, so I gotta just ask, at this point in time, why is this information trying
To
to
get
be
squashed?
protected? Exactly. So I guess in light of all of this, we're going to make another connection, just simply because, you know, we have the playbook,
But first, we're going to start with the reasoning book.
the now defunct reasoning book.
Excuse me, I needed a cough drop. Page 181, under holidays. Well, over on page 180, what underlies holidays in memory of the spirits of the dead? Also, Halloween is included in this.
Yes.
So I'm going to read the second paragraph over on page 181.
And most of us ex-JWs will recall most of this information because, you know, after all, we did use this in our, you know, door-to-door work to, you know, to prove that Jehovah's Witnesses have the truth.
Well, I can remember reading this as a Jehovah's Witness and around, October, going to the door and telling people, oh, how shocking it was. You know, you can look this up in your encyclopedia. So
Right.
Why would a Christian want to celebrate Halloween? All right, second paragraph. The book, The Worship of the Dead, points to this origin. The mythologies of all the ancient nations are interwoven with the events of the deluge, aka Noah's flood.
That's right.
So I'm going to skip a couple of sentences down about halfway. This festival is, moreover, held by all on or about the very day on which, according to the Mosaic account, the deluge took place. The 17th day of the second month, the month nearly corresponding with our November. Now here in the United States, Halloween is October 31st. Going on. Thus, these celebrations actually began with an honoring of people whom God had destroyed because of their badness in Noah's day. And here in the next paragraph, it says, such holidays honoring spirits of the dead as if they were alive in another realm are contrary to the Bible's description of death as a state of complete unconsciousness. I seem to remember somewhere in the organization saying that Russell in heaven was still directing the organization.
Well, the 144,000 that have died and already gone to heaven are directing the modern day organization of Jehovah. So here again, Jehovah's Witnesses do believe in honoring the dead because they're the ones supposedly pushing the buttons of this day's faithful and discreet slave, aka the governing idiots.
Well, you may be asking, what in the world has this Halloween got to do with the Temple Farms and Knights Templar?
Wait for it. But first, we gotta kind of have to qualify a few things before we, put the nail once again in this topic.
Now, first thing is we want to start with an obituary we had found, because of course I was doing Watchtower and Freemason and Knights Templar connection, and for some reason this obituary pops up, and I'm like, what the heck? What has that got to do with any of this?
Well, the thing is that Smurf Girl says that she's from a Masonic family. When we read this obituary, whether this particular person became a Freemason before becoming a Jehovah's Witness, or left Freemason and then become a Jehovah's Witness, or vice versa, that's irrelevant to what we're getting at, because there are those in the organization even to this day understand the symbolisms of the past, the symbolisms that exist today, and if Watchtower doesn't go down, the symbolisms of the future. There are men that know. So let's read this, and then we'll just kind of talk a little bit about it.
Yeah. This is Lauren Alfred Pete Gipp. Now, like I said, I didn't know why this had popped up, but let me read the first paragraph of his obituary. And I'm going to put the link down below to this. Lauren Alfred Pete Gipp. And it's interesting because they have a flag here. Mm-hmm. But American we know flag. He was a Jehovah's Witness when he died. Lauren Alfred Pete Gipp, 99, of Fort Myers, Florida, formerly of Naples, Florida, and Platteville, Wisconsin, passed away suddenly at Lee Health Park on December 10, 2018. A memorial service will be held Saturday, December 22nd, 2018 at 3:30 p.m. at the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses in Fort Myers, Florida. So, he's having a Kingdom Hall funeral.
But not only that, on December 22nd. Isn't that like something to do with the winter solstice? The sun dying? There might be a connection here. You guys figure this out. I know where my mind is. Because when I see stuff like this, I gotta ask a Jehovah's Witness, why would you do this on such a day?
Well, either ignorance, or they do recognize the significance.
Or they do.
That this was the winter solstice, and it all has to do with sun worship.
Has to do with sun, with the dying of a sun.
Oy vey. Okay. Now, apparently he wasn't a Jehovah's Witness when he was younger because he was in the army. But the thing is for them to have a Jehovah's Witness funeral in the Kingdom Hall, that he was a witness at the time of his death. So why would the family put this obituary information, this information in his obituary? Because it gets better. When you go down to the 5th paragraph, Pete enjoyed his life in Platteville, cherishing his friends and providing service to the community that he was so proud of. He was a member of the Scottish Rite, 32nd degree Freemasonry. Zor Schreiner served as a board member of the First National Bank, and member of the Platteville Chamber of Commerce, and member of the Church Council at the First English Lutheran Church, and sponsor of Little League teams, and organizer for Maxwell Street Days. Now, like I said, this may have been stuff in his past, but if you're a Jehovah's Witness giving him a funeral in the Kingdom Hall, I just got to say, I don't think they care anymore. I don't think they care anymore.
I don't think they care. I don't. See, there again, when you look at secret societies, secret organizations, it's not so much that they're secret themselves, is that they're organizations that hide secrets, that have secrets to hide.
Yeah, they're a public organization, but they have secrets.
Right, they have secrets.
Yeah, so like I said, I'll put the link down below.
And a lot of them secrets are tied up in the symbolisms.
Yeah. All right. Now, I want to thank Virgil for his research, and I'm going to put the link down below to the zip file because there's a lot of information in here, and we won't be covering everything. I do have to make just a quick correction. If you do, get this PDF, Russell died in 1916, not 1914. So I just wanted to make that correction, if you grab this file. But it's called Research into Temple Farm. Temple Farm, West Hanningfield, Chelmsford, UK, the new site for the religious order known legally as the Worldwide Order of Full-Time Servants of Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, talking about this religious order of the Knights Templar reminded me that several years ago we had done a video about Watchtower's vow of poverty that, like, the Special Pioneers, the Circuit Overseers, and Bethelites have to sign. And at the top, as you can see, of this vow of poverty, it is called the Religious Order of Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, we know this is a new corporation they formed because they have a corporation called the Religious Order of Jehovah's Witnesses. That's the same phrase that the Knights Templars would use.
See, and the thing is what we have to recognize that even within the Watchtower and Babel Craft Society, there is a corporate ladder. There's a corporate ladder, and this is just another rung, because not every Jehovah's Witness is part of the religious order of Jehovah's Witnesses. See, so when you climb that corporate ladder, maybe, end up being in the writing department of Watchtower, maybe end up being in the art department of Watchtower, maybe end up being in the research department of Watchtower, you're just another rung above the lowly, stupid rank and file. And that's how some of them feel about the rank and file. They're just stupid because we can put these images in the artwork and they'll never see the penis on the back of the songbook. That's how they feel about us, friends.
Yeah, and Freemasonry is the same thing.
Exactly.
Goes down, in like the only 3rd degree or 10th degree, whatever, down here, don't realize, what's going on at the higher levels. Scientology, the rank and file doesn't know that once you get to the top, make your way to the top, that it's all about aliens.
Yeah.
So they laugh at the rank and file that they don't know this stuff. And we're going to show something else here in a little bit, right from the Watchtower itself, that shows that what they feed the rank and file is complete manure.
Exactly.
Because we have the books.
That's right.
Okay, so back to the PDF here. Okay, attachments that argument this document, and he's got these attachments, and all of this is in the zip file. Google Maps pin for Temple Farms. It says go to the https://maps.google.co.uk and search for Temple Farm Development. Now, as you can see from the picture, the precise pin chosen by Temple Farm Developments, part of the planning process, is for a specific building. Do you see that little building that's circled in yellow?
Now you have to understand, from Watchtower's perspective, the religious order, this becomes a really sacred piece of ground.
Yeah, exactly.
It's sacred to them. But to the stupid rank and file, this means nothing. This just means, oh look, Jehovah's blessing the organization.
Yeah. Why is this specific building chosen for the map pin? It lines up perfectly with an old map from 1700s. This map can be viewed in person via the English National Archives, and he's got the web page. And this is the old map, and as you can see right over there where it says Old Orders, see that little red dot? That's the area we're going to be talking about. Here is the Watchtower design plan, and he's attached the full PDF. And this is, what they're planning on building, or have built. Yeah. Here's the old map with the Watchtower planning map overlaid. Can you see it? So you see the building that had the map pin on Google. You see it overlaid. You can see it circled. Note how the old road aligns perfectly. So Watchtower's using this same old road. Old road aligns perfectly, and that the old orders, the Templar religious orders, building lines up perfectly with the exact building where Watchtower set the Google Map pin. One thing I would say, it might be a coincidence, but when you get all of this stuff together, it's like this is pieces of the puzzle. We don't really need the full picture of this puzzle to put it together.
Well, like we've stated in a previous video, nobody, and I don't care who you think you are, nobody's going to be able to call a Masonic lodge and get a name off of a list, just like nobody, I don't care who you are, is going to be able to call Watchtower and get a name off of one of their lists. It just simply isn't done.
So this is interesting. Also note that on the Watchtower master plan, this building is numbered 33.
Go figure, right? Go figure.
Another coincidence?
No, it's not a coincidence, but it gets even better.
Yeah. So back in 2016 in February, there's a video on the JW broadcast. And I'm going to put the link down below, but at the 2-minute mark, it shows them presenting the plan. And you can hear this. They're presenting it to, the planning and zoning here in Chelmsford. And see this picture? He's got it circled. Watchtower Master Plan showing building number 33 on exact spot of Old Orders building at Temple Farm.
Sacred Masonic ground, friends.
Yeah.
It's sacred to the... See, the rank and file is ignorant to this because the rank and file don't study this. But those people in Watchtower that are in the know are very well aware what they're doing with this building and where it's placed.
What is sad to me, though, is there's no telling what archaeological artifacts and ruins and stuff could be under the ground, and they've just covered it up.
Look, this is an exercise in futility, because when this system ends, we're just going to go over there, bull down Watchtower's bullshit farms, and then we're going to excavate it ourselves.
Well, who knows? The Knights Templar were looking for all these artifacts in Jerusalem. Maybe they found the Ark of the Covenant or the Holy Grail,
there.
And it's buried there. It may or may not be significant that the plan is dated by Watchtower as 31st of October 2014.
Let me see, that's 98 years to the death of Charles Taze Russell. Wonder if that has any significance.
Now, we all know that Halloween was the date of C.T. Russell's death in 1916. So, that's why we were reading the, reasoning from the scriptures, because, now the thing is back then there was even some suspicion that Russell was killed, because there was several attempts on his life. People claimed that some were trying to poison him. He even had the brothers tasting his food before he ate it. So he was putting the rank and file's lives in danger by testing his food. So many think that he was poisoned. And there's even, something called a C.T. Russell murder letter. You can find it on, the internet.
But here again, if this was not so significant to those in the know in Watchtower, then why even date this October 31st unless it has a deeper meaning to these people?
The anniversary of Pastor Russell's death.
The religious order of the Knights Templars. The religious order of Jehovah's Witnesses.
Now, we're going to be covering a little bit more about Russell's funeral here in a few minutes. What are the old orders? At this point, we need to outline some historical events. I don't cite all the references to some of these well-known historical events, as they will be detailed in any encyclopedia, but for anything about the Templars, I cite a source reference.
Just to interrupt right here, I wonder if there was any historical event to the day that Tony Morris III got caught at the Bottle King buying so much alcohol.
So they could drink to their...
Who knows? I don't believe these guys do a single damn thing without it having some connection to these religious orders.
Yeah. Okay, so this reference starts in 1066. The Battle of Hastings begins the Norman conquest of Britain, allowing William, Duke of Normandy, to bring French nobility and power to Britain. 1099, which just happens to be 33 years later, the First Crusade captures Jerusalem, and European pilgrims flock to the Holy Land. And we all know, Knights Templar basically set up a banking system.
Right.
And they claim it was the first banking system. Well, actually, that's not quite true. Because if you go back to ancient Sumeria, that was the first, banking system.
Babylon.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe this might have been the first banking system for Christians.
Or in England, who knows? 1119, French knight, I'm not even going to pronounce that, proposes a religious order of knights to protect pilgrims, and this was granted in 1120. So this is where the Templars got their start, as a religious order. So, why would there be similar phrases, between theocratic language and, some of these secret societies?
It's almost like somebody doesn't want this information out there.
Their headquarters were established at the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, and they called themselves the Poor Knights of Christ and the Temple of Solomon, or Templar Knights. Now, we know that the Bible students used to have their meetings in these
Freemason
lodges,
temples.
these temples, Freemasonry, Oddfellows Hall, all of these. Was it because of their reverence for Solomon's Temple? Because we know a lot of these temples and lodges are designed just like Solomon's Temple. Because we know, Freemasonry goes all the way back to, Solomon's Temple, and they claim that's where they got their beginning.
Yeah, and the thing is, you may not look at the outside of a Freemason building. You may just see a square, but on the inside, you're going to see like black and white checkered tiled floors.
Pyramids.
The black and white checkered floor that I just referred to is very readily seen inside of Watchtower's literature when they show Jesus in the temple, cleansing the temple. There's a black and white checkered floor. Yeah, so I mean, it's, again, you're not going to find a name on a list, but all the connections are done through the language and through the artwork and, through the religious order of Jehovah's Witnesses.
Now, in some of the old literature, like Rutherford's Rainbow Collection, there's a lot of symbols with the two pillars. Look up the two pillars.
And we're going to get you something here that nobody, to my knowledge, has pointed to yet to show the connection.
Okay, in the year 1136, Matilda, wife of then English King Stephen, donates a 14,000-acre estate to the Templars in the Chelmsford area. So do you see where this is going? Known today as Cressing Temple. The first Templar farms and buildings were built in this area. A barley barn at Cressing Temple is the oldest standing timber frame barn in the world, later establishing their headquarters in London. One of the farms they built in this area was Temple Farm, West Hanningfield. The modern name for the area, West Hanningfield, comes from the later family name Hanningfields, who become owners of the land sometime after the Templar persecution that began on Friday the 13th in October in 1307. Now, what's interesting about that date, Friday the 13th, everybody thinks, that's a bad, evil day. Well, that's the day that the Pope Vatican turned on the Templars and started, hunting them down and killing them. Now, what's interesting about the 1307 is, witnesses have this thing about Jerusalem being destroyed in 607. Well, if you add those two dates together, it brings you to 1914.
I kind of wonder if the murder of Archduke Ferdinand wasn't some sort of revenge against the church or mankind in particular for the killing of the Knights Templars on October 13th.
I don't know.
Friday the 13th. So it just, kind of makes you want to maybe do a little bit of research on that to see who truly Archduke Ferdinand was and just exactly how this may or may not have played into the start of World War I.
Well, then making another Russell Watchtower connection too, October 1914 is when Russell came downstairs to the Bethel family having breakfast and announced that the Gentile times had ended. And of course, it started with 607. The connections are just incredible. Okay, back to this. Hence, on maps from 1300s onward, the area is shown on maps as Hanningfield Temple. This is the site of the Templar Old Orders where Watchtower has erected building number 33. Now, going down to 1139, it talks about, this banking system they had set up. But the last sentence, it says their official emblem showed two knights with two crosses on a single horse and the Tower of David. Okay, then in 1307, we know what that was. That was Friday the 13th. And that is when Philip IV of France uses this change of status to avoid paying his Templar debts and slandering them with false charges and resulting in mass arrest and execution Friday the 13th, October 1307. In England and the rest of Europe, Templar property was seized. By 1309, Temple Farm at Chelmsford was given to a knight by the name of Hanningfield. Not a Templar, just a knight. Now banned, Templars went underground, disguising their organizations by different names such as the Order of Christ, Knights of Christ. This order dropped the Templar emblem of two knights on a single horse and replaced it with a double Templar cross. Two crosses. Now he has referenced here a book by Karen Rawls, 2007, and the link is in here. And it has a little bit more history, on this, and it mentions the oldest Masonic written records in the world has some of this history on this. Skipping down, so that historical overview establishes that the old orders on the old map from the 1700s refers to the religious orders of the Templars, followed by other owners who clearly valued its religious heritage, just like Watchtower.
Just like Watchtower.
English Heritage have preserved a Templar building from that same era. And he's got the website here, and you can go see it, but you can see beautiful manor building, temple. Okay, then we're going to go down to emblem. Before we consider the next map, it is worth noting the medieval Templar emblem, the royal seal of the Crusader kings, which is on display in the National Library of France. Now, as you can see in here, it's got the double cross at the top, and then underneath that is a watchtower. Note the Templar double cross and Tower of David, watchtower. Double cross. Another old map exists from 1600 that shows the entrance road, the Templar site, marked with a stone or wooden monument in the form of a double cross. Now that's also where the English word double cross comes from,
right?
Because, this Prince Philip and the Vatican turned on the Templars and double crossed them. Right. So that's where that term actually comes from. Now you can see it's marked and it's on a little green mound. Now there's mounds like this all over the world. Even here in the United States, there's some of these, mounds. Some had, skeletons in them. There's one back east that is in the shape of a giant snake, which can only be seen from the sky. All right, note the double cross is on a green mound, showing that it is an actual monument, not a map marker. And it has a name, Double Cross, Old English. This monument marked the entrance to the road leading off the Temple Farm. And like we've seen in the overlay map, it's exactly the same road that Watchtower is using today. On the jw.org website, there are photos of how Watchtower has constructed the new entrance to the Temple Farm site. And he's got the link to two of them. And see the big old jw.org sign. In this photo, the jw.org signage is affixed to a giant masonry monument. It's huge. In this photo, note that this is the only Watchtower Bethel entrance in the world to have two monument-sized jw.org signs. Even the Warwick headquarters only has a single sign at the entranceway. The jw.org logo has in recent years become like an emblem of veneration, similar to how a religious cross symbol is venerated.
Exactly.
And here on the very spot where once stood a Templar double cross is a double monument featuring the new emblem, jw.org. This also reminds us of the double cross on the official Templar emblem already noted above. Then he gets into the blue color. Now we know many organizations have the blue background. You know, Scientology, some of their main buildings are blue. CERN, you know, they have a blue background and it's all connected, but it looks like 3 sixes all connected together. And then the UN, you know, theirs is blue. So, okay, it may or may not be of significance that the JW.org emblem is blue in color. In his Encyclopedia of Freemasonry, English edition, Albert Mackey comments under the topic of blue. This is emphatically the color of Freemasonry. He further adds, in the degree of Grand Master of all symbolic lodges, the blue and yellow, which are its appropriate colors, are said to refer to the appearance of Jehovah to Moses on Mount Sinai in clouds of azure blue. The blue in this degree is therefore a symbol of heaven, the seat of our celestial tabernacle. And then he's got a link to the reference on Google Books.
Yes, and if you continue to do this research, you're going to understand that the blue and the yellow, especially the yellow also, because see, Watchtower doesn't use that yellow that I'm aware of. But they might picture it in other things. I'm just not aware of it at this time or have anything to point directly to. In relation to the comment that I'm about to make. But if you remember reading the account when Moses come down off the Mount Sinai, there we go, his face shined just like the sun. In fact, his face was shining so bright they had to put a hood over it. That is a direct representation to sun worship. The blue sky and the celestial sun. It's all solar worship.
And what Amaze does is on YouTube, if you go and search for The Secret Life of Symbols. Now, Jordan Maxwell has done this series, and as far as I know, only the first 3 episodes are on YouTube. Now, Jordan Maxwell, many of you may know, he's big into symbols, and he's even mentioned Watchtower several times. Several have sent me videos that he did a video with Carlos Santos, I believe. I don't know if he's an XJW or just knows a lot about them, but he covers a lot to do with symbols. Now, what's interesting in these first 3 episodes is that he talks about sun worship, right, and the connection with, you know, the pagan, you know, beliefs and the Judeo-Christian Bible. And see, like Mike was just saying, yellow is a very significant color because in a lot of Christendom's paintings, you know, he shows this in the series. They have Jesus on the cross with this big yellow halo with rays going out behind his head. Well, this signified the sun in the sky, S-U-N.
Not S-O-N.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you do your research, you're going to find that your world is going to be turned upside down. But it's not something that you cannot recover from, because you can recover from it when you really begin to see how we've all been absolutely lied to about everything religious.
Just remember, knowledge is power.
That's right. Getting back to the color blue, since many of you now have not seen the video that we've done earlier from my, you know, Temple Masonic Bible.
It's blue.
Yeah, it's blue. The chapter in here under the internal workings of Freemasonry. Masonry, you can, well, it's kind of hard to hold this big book up and get everything so you can see it.
That's why it's hard for me to even get scans of it.
Yeah, but you can see it. What I'm going to be reading from is a section called the Blue Lodge Masonry. Now, when Watchtower started plastering this blue sign over all their kingdom halls, I recognized immediately what they were doing. They're assigning that kingdom hall as a blue lodge. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say, "Oh no, that's just a blue sign, yada yada yada." But if you don't know what the Masons write about the Blue Lodge, you're never going to see the connection. And when I read some of this, hopefully you will recognize the connection in how it pertains to you as a Jehovah's Witness or even a former Jehovah's Witness. The entered apprentice degree. First of the 3 degrees of Blue Lodge Masonry is a preliminary degree intended to prepare the candidate for a higher and fuller instructions of the succeeding degrees. Now, when you enter as a Jehovah's Witness, you're just a rank and file.
You're just an unbaptized publisher.
That's right. Then you become, a baptized publisher. Then you might become, a regular pioneer. Then you might become a ministerial servant, elder. Then you might become a circuit overseer. You see, it's just the apprentice. It's just the beginning.
Same levels as Freemasonry. And the
Yep.
thing is the lower levels, rank and file, doesn't know the secrets of the higher level.
Right.
And whether it's Watchtower, Freemasonry, and even, Scientology, because the rank and file that starts in Scientology doesn't know that when you get up here to the top, you realize that it's all about aliens.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you get up to the top of Watchtower, you realize it's all sun worship. It's just amazing. Like right here, it's just the preliminary degree intended to prepare the candidate for the higher, more fuller instructions. Okay, you want to become a regular pioneer? Well, guess what? You get the little blue book shining as illuminators, but you can't show that to anybody who's not
Worthy
or a regular pioneer. See? So there are these levels that you can achieve in the Blue Lodge of Watchtower Bible Tract Society. Okay, the candidate is a voluntary applicant for membership in the lodge. You tell me what paid position Jehovah's Witnesses have. Oh, no. See, in the Blue Lodge of Jehovah's Witnesses, everything is voluntary. Well, hell, we don't even have a paid clergy. It's all voluntary. Do you guys see the connection? Look, I got the freaking playbook, people.
You can still find those on eBay.
Yeah. Okay, becomes the candidate is a voluntary applicant for membership in the lodge. He comes without an invitation from the lodge or from any member of the order, even though he may have been told by a Mason friend that he would probably become true and tried and trusted material for the Masonic superstructure. Well, isn't that how Watchtower works?
You
Look,
have to qualify.
you got to qualify. When you become a ministerial servant, you can't tell the rank and file who's not a ministerial servant what was discussed in the elder ministerial servant meeting. Just like the elders can't discuss with the ministerial servants what was talked about after the ministerial servants were, excused from the room. You got to understand, it's all the same pattern that Watchtower is following. Going on down here, of his own free will in accord, he petitions the lodge and seeks admission that he may begin his search for light, the light of divine truth.
They're in the truth.
New light.
Sound familiar, guys?
In the truth.
Jehovah's Witnesses, you're in the truth. You're in the light of truth.
Okay, going on. At the threshold of the lodge, he is required to profess a belief in a supreme being, thus repudiating any tendencies to infidelity, polytheism, or pantheism, and acknowledging his faith in the one true and living God. Well, how is that not theocratic language? But it all goes down to this. How do you begin to get an ignorant person to begin expressing faith in the one true living God. Well, hell, just go get your King James Version and look up Psalms 83:18. There's the name of Almighty God. Wow, look at that. I never knew that. I found the truth. New light. It's the control mechanism. I mean, if you can't see this, you're going to be a complete moron. Okay, going on to the next page over here, because it's actually pretty lengthy. In properly comprehending the important lesson of the degree, the course of his movements around the lodge room, the significance of symbols employed in the lectures given, including every phase of the ritual, the entered apprentice Mason realizes that he has begun a noble pursuit for truth. Okay, you come into Watchtower, you talk about the movements around the Kingdom Hall. Hey, look, brother so-and-so must be doing really good because now he's passing mics. Hey, look. No longer is he passing mics. Now he's an assistant to the book room, into the literature. Hey, look. He's a ministerial servant. This is the movement around inside the Kingdom Halls.
Well, it's even involved with a ritual. Look at the memorial. The ritual that the, brothers pass these plates and go aisle by aisle.
Oh, yeah.
How is that not a ritual?
Well, here again,
movement around a room?
You've really got to be spiritually qualified to, pass the emblems.
Yep.
Guys, it's I've got the playbook, okay? I've got the playbook. I can see very plain how this mimics the Freemasons. And they're using the same thing because they are Freemasons. They just don't let the lower, ignorant, stupid ones recognize that. It's not until you start climbing the rung on Watchtower's ladder that you get to understand this. Just like the rank and file do not get to understand what is the religious order of Jehovah's Witnesses are. It's only those that have gone up to that rung that understand that. And then the rest of us, well, we're just peons because, like going to the pioneer school, you can't have the blue shining as illuminators book because you're just a peon.
All right, going on now with this PDF. The Tower of David, Watchtower. In the attached BRD newsletter number 11, spring 2019, it contained a QR code. And right next to the QR code, you will see there are some websites. Public consultation website, yeah. The templefarmdevelopment.co.uk website was used to present to public officials, already mentioned above, with photo, to garner favor for the project when changes were requested in 2016. It is interesting to note that the photo they chose to use of the existing Bethel at Watchtower House is taken from an unusual angle which highlights the tower icon above the entrance. And as you can see, you got the picture here. More details can be found about the overtly Templar Tower logo at the official Tower of David Museum in Jerusalem. And that's at www.tod.org.il/en. Suffice to say, the tower features on the Templar emblem already mentioned above and takes us right back to where, how, and why the Templars first began. So some interesting research, and like I said, I'm going to have this, zip file with the link to it. Now, first I want to show this icon right here. I got this from the Knights Templar website. Yes, they are still up and running. Anybody can join, and even Shirley Temple, when she was an adult, became a Templar. But as you can see, this is the cross and crown. And when you go to Knights Templar crosses and symbols, they have all of these. Well, you can see here the double cross. You can also see the Templar cross with the big, huge, wide arms. Well, look right below that, the Jerusalem cross. I think that is the cross I seen on the back of, the video we did a while back about the photodrama of creation from 1914. I think this was the symbol that was on the back of one of the, three wise men.
Okay, can you go back to the first one that we just showed here?
Okay.
I had you go back to this because I noted something with all the research that I've been doing about sun worship and the cross being a symbol of sun worship. I've noticed that on this particular drawing, look at all of the rays that are coming out from the crown and cross.
The sun.
That's the sun. That's the sun rays. You've got the cross right in the middle of the sun. If you take the time to watch, again, Jordan Maxwell's The Secret
Life of Symbols.
Secret Life of Symbols. Thank you. You will see how this also connects to sun worship. I'm not talking S-O-N. I'm talking S-U-N. Sun worship. And it's very easy to see some of this when you read the book of Ezekiel, and it talks about the 70 men or however that scripture is read, that they had their back turned to the temple and they were bowing down, worshiping the sun. Nothing has changed, friends.
Well, that's going to be number 3 of your video.
Yes, it is.
But getting back to this, I found a convention program from 1914. Now look at this picture, and it has everybody out front, and it has the International Bible Students banner and the cross and crown right under where it says temple on the building. And at the top of the booklet you can see our temple with the cross and crown on each side of it. So, we know the Bible students even wore those pins on their lapels back in Russell's day. Now the reason we bring this up is because I have, well, you can't see it because of the tape, but I have the old Zion's Watchtower bond volumes. This is December 1st, 1916. And I know you can't see it, but they've got a picture in here, so I did a scan of it. And I did the scan myself. I didn't get it online. I did the scan. Because my page was already falling out of the book, so I just did a scan of it. But this is C.T. Russell, Pastor Russell's funeral. And like I said, this is the December 1st, 1916 Watchtower. And this is on page 5996. Now, when you look right above his casket, see all the flowers? I mean, it's just incredible, the amount of flowers. And they even talk about this in the Watchtower, of all these flowers that he had. Well, look at right above, right in the middle. Doesn't that look like a double cross?
It looks like a double cross.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very kind of obscured. You have to remember, photography back then wasn't as good and clear as it is today.
Yeah.
So, there might be a little bit of speculation as to whether that's actually a double cross or not. But there's definitely a cross there, and it looks like it could be a double cross.
Okay, now go over a few pages to page 6000 or page 360 in the Watchtower. And I've got a scan of that too. You see? Funeral services. And I'm going to read right from here. The floral display. I'm going to go down to the second paragraph underneath that subheading. At the foot of the casket was placed a broken pillar of flowers, fittingly representing that dear body which, like the Lord's body, had been broken in the service of the brethren, while at the head was a magnificent floral cross and crown, the cross symbolizing his share in the death of Christ, and the crown symbolizing the crown of glory, which we believe he now wears with our dear Lord in heaven. Now, do you see the story, the pile of manure that they're giving the rank and file? Because they believe they don't know, they don't deserve to know the truth about these symbols. Well, guess what? We're going to go back to our Freemason, in the question and answers.
Okay, well, let's make sure that we understand what we're looking at. We're looking at the broken column.
Or pillar.
Or pillar. The broken pillar, the broken column.
And you can research that.
That has significance to Freemasonry. And it connects the dot, friends.
Oh, please, let me read this one.
Please do tell.
No.
Okay, this is the explanation of the term broken column.
Right from the Temple Bible. Broken column. Question. Why the broken column in Masonry? Among the ancients, columns or pillars were used to signify princes or nobles, as if they were pillars of state.
Now remember, the 144,000 are going to become what? Princes. They're going to become a prince up in heaven with Jesus. It's another one of those connecting words. Prince, broken column, fallen prince.
Now this gave me goosebumps, guys. A broken column would signify a fallen prince, the weakening of the state. Thus we have the broken column, familiar to every master mason, as a symbol of the fall of one of the chief supporters of the craft. So that manure story they have in the Watchtower as to what, the broken column means.
See, they wouldn't have used that term, the broken column of flowers, unless it meant something specific. One of their fallen members, one of their fallen princes.
Just like, the cross and crown. We know that that is a Templar symbol. So, take it or leave it. You can do your own research. This is just some research that Virgil has shared with us. And then in my researching some of this stuff, I came across, this in the Watchtower. So
It's in their own literature.
yeah.
For crying out loud. Like I said, you got to be a moron not to be able to see these connections and understand that Russell was a Knights Templar, a fallen prince, thus the symbology of the broken column of flowers at his funeral.
And that was right in the Watchtower. That was right in the Watchtower, but their explanation of it is just a bunch of hooey.
Exactly, because you got to be able to have the playbook to understand what all of this means to the Watchtower and Babel Crap Society.
Yeah, and like I said, that was the December 1st, 1916 Watchtower, and that quote was on page 6,000, or the other numbers are pages 359 and 360. So, and as you can see, I did a screenshot of it, so make up your own mind, but it's just interesting how we keep finding these connections. And the thing is one coincidence, yeah, it could be a coincidence. But when you put all of this together,
It's just as plain as the nose on anybody's face, and you gotta ask, why turn it in a different direction? Why turn it into
why deflect it?
Deflect, exactly. Why deflect from this unless you're trying to protect something that you really don't want out there?
Yeah. So we want to thank everybody for sending us your research and information. And, I'll put the links down below to all of this. And my goodness, there just seems to be more and more connections. So
All I can say is have fun editing all this together now.
you jerk.
Friends, this is the third take. Because she keeps finding more stuff.
Well, I'm not looking anymore. That's it.
Thanks for watching, and I hope this will finally put this to bed.
No, it won't. There's going to be more fighting.
That's what I'm afraid of.
There's
There
gonna be more
again, you
fighting.
got to ask, why the deflection and why right now? Why, when we have Watchtower in the courts of the world, are they trying to deflect from what's really important and going along with, which really now becomes, old information, old research?
Yeah. Well, it all goes back to Russell's death. I mean, even the one we did before about the pyramid at, the Watchtower Cemetery. It all goes back to Russell's death.
Well, you just got to remember, the religious order of Jehovah's Witnesses, is this the order that's really protecting the secrets, really safeguarding something?
Now, moving to modern time, I want to thank our source so much for sending me the court documents. I'm going to put this in my Dropbox and the link down below also. This is the court documents. The court hearing is starting October 2nd, 2019 at 10 a.m. in Arkansas for the elder, J.W. Elder, accused of molesting kids. And it's horrible. I mean, I couldn't even finish reading these documents, because of all the horrible things that he did to these poor kids. And so anyway, I'm going to put those documents down below, and we'll kind of keep an eye on this, because those of you in Arkansas, this hearing, some of you might be going, so let us know. And if anybody needs to email me, it's kimmymbrooks@gmail.com. And I also want to mention real quick, I've had a few messages and people actually calling saying, hey, where is your guys' website? I've made an executive decision that I don't have time for a website. And if anybody needs any information or something, just email me. I've had some problems with trying to get the new website up and running, and I've been fighting with the company on that, and I finally just deleted it, and they're refusing to give me a refund now, but oh well. So anyway, that is why, the website is down, and apparently some of you didn't hear our video from like May, where they just took our website down. I thought I had until August to renew it, and they changed the renewal date on me. And they did not send me an email warning me.
They didn't notify us.
They did not notify me, and they just deleted the website. And when I went back and I was going to, renew it to get all of, the files and everything, they couldn't even find the files. So that's why I was suspecting something fishy was going on with that. Because I was also paying the $3 a month for the backup, and they would send me all of these files for the backup every week. Well, the person that's helping me with the website, she says, there's nothing in here that I can use. This is worthless files. So, I may be paranoid, but, there's some weird things going on with that, especially when their IT department contacted me and they could not find anything to do with our website.
Go figure.
Who knows? Who knows? Well, thank you everybody for watching, and we hope you have a wonderful weekend. We love you.
Bye.
Bye.